Candace Owens not talking about Israel anymore is my understanding. It's weird. You know, she actually was tweeting some things that could have been construed as pro-Palestinian at one point early on. Ben Shapiro, her boss, went public about how disgusted he was about it. And frankly, I don't trust Candace Owens to have arrived at Israel critique by a ideology that anyone should feel comfortable with. I mean, this is the woman who was defending Kanye West's insane anti-Semitism on her program. So let's basically just do not give her any props whatsoever for stumbling upon a position that might be slightly correct when it's not viewed through her bigotry. But she's kind of been quiet about that ever since her boss, Ben Shapiro, was like, hey, no.
Cut it out.
Cut it out. I mean, that's my conjecture. I don't know if they had those conversations, but I think it's reasonable to infer. She's on something even more important here. I want people to
brace
themselves.
There's a bit of a trigger content warning.
Content warning for the story that Candace Owens is blowing open here about a beloved childhood classic.
All right, guys, now it's time to get into some of your comments, or rather to respond to a lot of the comments that I received pertaining to the Wizard of Oz and Black Twitter making me aware that actually what happened to the witch was outrageous.
Okay, pause. So go back to the tweet. First, so she's speaking derisively about Black Twitter here. But, is that what it is? I'm not exactly sure.
No, she's sort of agreeing.
Or she's agreeing? Okay, here we go. This is what this person tweeted. In hindsight, the Wicked Witch of the West have every reason to light Dorothy's ass up. How are you going to kill my sister and steal her red bottoms, you hillbilly bitch? Which is an amazing tweet. The Wicked Witch of the West totally justified in lighting Dorothy's ass up. I mean, this has been explored in the musical Wicked.
That's right.
This has been Elphaba's misunderstood, folks. She just was not liked
consequences for the actions of Dorothy far beyond what it was ever known in the 1939 movie.
Yes, she had to be exiled because she was not of the right skin color, and people did not. I mean, the justice obviously for Elphaba. Did not look. I'm a white girl who grew up in the tri-state area and was born in the 90s. I freaking love Wicked, so I'm well versed in this. Anyway, keep going.
Now, first, speaking of Matt Walsh, I actually took this issue so seriously. I texted him over the weekend because I went back to revisit the clip after many of you wrote in that no, what Dorothy did was manslaughter. She accidentally killed the witch, making her not that bad of a person. So what I'm going to do for this comment section is I'm going to take you very slowly through what really took place in this scene after, again, Dorothy murdered somebody's sister and then stole her shoes, stole her red bottoms. So first, just to provide you guys a background of what took place before I even show you the clip. Before the Wicked Witch, if that's what we're calling her, shows up, the Munchkins, Oompa Loompas, whatever you want to call them, are throwing a party while there is a dead person under a house, and they're skipping with Dorothy singing "Ding Dong, the witch is dead." While there's a dead person at center, right? There's somebody that's dead, and they're dancing and saying, "Witch, oh witch, the Wicked Witch." Obviously, this is some sort of a satanic ritual. So I want to make that clear. They're having a satanic ritual. It's the only reason you would have a dead person and dance around them. And then the witch ends the party when she shows up and finds her dead sister.
Munchkins, Oompa Loompas, what do you...
Just really skipping into another universe from Wizard of Oz to Willy Wonka, that they're just interchangeable little people in both movies.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just got to say, I am almost in admiration of the level of seriousness that she applies to this story. I mean, she does not even crack a smile as she's speaking about the Munchkin satanic ritual around the dead body. I mean, it's like, do we know what they did with the body after? Did the Munchkins commit necrophilia?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions about what they did.
Probably drank her blood.
I mean, probably. So Dorothy committed manslaughter.
No, murder. It's a capital offense.
Sorry.
It wasn't an accident.
How was it not an accident?
She murdered her.
Yeah, I understand. She didn't. All right. I need to stop laughing. This is a serious story.
She killed her.
Stop,
she murdered her.
Stop laughing.
She murdered her.
I mean, the way that you're honestly treating this story with such glib humor makes me kind of question where your allegiance. Are you aligned with God, or are you aligned with the Satanic Munchkins?
The Munchkins revealed Dorothy's intentionality by making a ritual out of it.
I mean, so honestly, there should be some sort of inquiry into the coordination between Dorothy and the Oompa Loompas.
That's right.
First, the tip of the spear, Dorothy in her house, killing the Wicked Witch of the East, and then the ritual that preceded, or not preceded, that followed, obviously, making sure that they desecrated the corpse for Satan. So it's I don't understand why it's murder and not manslaughter. She's assuming that Dorothy did not have. I'll act as Dorothy's defense here. She didn't have control of the house when it went into the
But that's what we're
tornado.
That's what we're led to believe.
Right.
We just saw Dorothy acting all innocent while killing the Wicked Witch of the East
Accidentally.
But we're just going to presume that there was no intent, that she had no control over the house.
Does she have some new archive footage that we're able to access? Candace seems to have a lot of information that I'm not privy to.
I think we have been misted by Dorothy in our cultural imagination for decades.
I mean, let's be real here. Dorothy is guilty of manslaughter and theft. Because she stole the red shoes. Theft. If you saw, if you remember, we have visual evidence of Dorothy wearing those shoes and then fleeing back to Kansas, crossing state lines.
Criminality.
Just brazen disrespect for the rule of law. Probably Antifa.
Interdimensional grand larceny occurring between the United States and Oz.
And then where is the recourse for the Munchkins, who participated in the desecration of the body and then also hailed to Satan?
Well, if those types of rituals are condoned in Oz, it speaks to a greater depravity and a greater illness within the society.
Yes, the sickness, the sick moving away from Christ as the Savior. The witches knew it. This is an odd move for her to take, because I would have assumed that the witches would have been the ones that are closer to Satan as opposed to the Oompa Loompas, because that's kind of traditionally been lore. But man, I mean, really, Wizard of Oz took us for a loop here. That movie that's nearly 100 years old at this point.
We're gonna have a lot to think about.
We have to go back in the archives and solve this crime.
So, we're gonna have to do ourselves a favor and put on the Dark Side of the Moon vinyl and watch this. Just watch it to see the thematic undertones that have occurred between both pieces of media.
And when you watch it backwards,
then we'll really see what's going on with Satan.
It's when you watch it backwards, you hear. I mean, I don't even know what to.
Dorothy's like, I am the tornado.
When you listen to it backwards, it's the Iranian Shah calling for the destruction of the United States.
And Oz. Interesting.
Interesting.
Plot thickens. Do you know that the guy, the person who found out, or at least the person, one of the first accounts of like playing Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety, relative to the Wizard of Oz movie, and seeing like thematic similarities between the soundtrack and the film, is now like a New York Times, like Maggie Haberman colleague. His name Charlie Savage. He's like a Pulitzer Prize winning security reporter. Basically, he as like a college student in Indiana was like the first person to ever write about like pairing those two together.
Interesting.
Yeah, just a fun fact there.
Fun fact. Dave the Trade says, Emma, I'm glad you have definitive proof that Dorothy wasn't in control. Are you being sarcastic? I guess if it was in her dream, as is alluded to at the end of the movie, you're technically in control of your subconscious. It's a thought crime. Catfish James, not for nothing, but the original 1900 book is often looked at as an allegory for the politics of its time, the Cowardly Lion being William Bryan Jennings, the Wicked Witches representing the cities on the east and west coast, the Good of Witch of the North being Canada, so on and so forth. That's very interesting. Vox Populi, clearly they conjured the tornado to swirl Dorothy's house. This is a deep state climate change conspiracy. Paint ship taster shocked by the disgusting bigotry of Emma calling the Munchkins Oompa Loompas. Do better. I didn't. That was a quote from Candace. Don't accuse me of something.
We're
like
drawing
that.
upon the archival research.
Yes.
This is not our own. We didn't do this originally. We're going from the source.
Jeff from Maryland, just asking for the record, but has Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL condemned Benjamin Netanyahu for saying from the river to the sea? Of course not. But good point. Congressional baseball fan, hold on, you guys. You have to drop the needle on the dark side of the moon right when Candace starts talking to get the full experience of this rundown of Wizard of Oz. I think I am that before you even said that, so great minds. Number 13, I heard the Grand Mufti gave Dorothy the idea to murder the Wicked Witch. Dick's Durban Superfan, kiss Candace goodbye. She's defying depravity. Kowalski from Nebraska, how did Dorothy commit manslaughter if the house that got thrown in a twister landed on someone? That's not manslaughter, that's just an act of nature. And the Wicked Witch of the West was killed in an act of self-defense, to which all of her minions should be immediately celebrated, which tells me she was a bad boss. At best, you could get her on the theft of the shoes, which is technically the desecration of a corpse. Also, people just celebrate about the death of folks all the time. A group of people showed up at the lighthouse in 2011 after the death of Osama bin Laden to celebrate. I'm not saying they were Satanists in the crowd, but not all of them were.
You're such a zebra, Kowalski.
Yeah, truly.
You think the conventional wisdom is all there is. You think that what you see is all that there is. Who do you believe?
Yeah, right.
Me or your lying eyes?
We know.